Hey guys, my name is Alex Rondego. I'm still alive, don't worry. I know it's been a while since I've uploaded anything, but we're going to do something a little bit different for this season in UGC. I'm still in Silver, so this is still Disingenuous Assertions in Silver, but instead of uploading mouse cam and comms, for this season, instead I'm going to be doing these kind of commentaries and explaining what's going on with myself, what's going on with the team. And this one, actually, week one is pretty funny. I'm not using the official match for this one. This is actually the pregame scrim that we played, only because our match was kind of a roll, and I just don't think there's anything productive there to work with in terms of, talking about and commentating my POV. So, this pregame was much less of a roll. It was much more even, but one of the cool things that you're going to see is that myself and my team, we are not warmed up at all. Like, at all. We start out making some really stupid decisions, both on the team's part and my part. I am main calling in this, so I'll talk about how my aggression and certain decisions that I make are because I am calling and trying to get the team to do what I want them to do. So, right out the gate, let's start with some of the stuff that I'm doing. So, sandwich out, resupply. That's not something I do a lot, but I figure it's match time. Who cares? It's nice. Fist of Steel in the cart. This is nice to, I'm checking around, seeing what's going on, who's going where, trying to find the spy and the sniper are the main priorities here. Once the cart's up far enough, I let the NG take it and I go and secure left side. Now, I'm talking fast because I want to talk about this first push right here. This is a stupid push. I get Ubered. For some reason right here, we get a pick on their demo, but that's not a whole lot to go on. And notice how they're backing up right now as they Uber. All of their players, minus their demo, are still up there. Heavy's still holding Cliff right there. And I see this, and if you notice, you're about to see the NG's coming back in as well and about to set his gun back up. And I die. That was a classic case of, you see the NG's on the hill right there, that was a classic case of a team baiting your team in. They had most of their players up. They didn't really have much of a disadvantage, but they backed up, they took their gun with them, and I believe at this point they've managed to get their gun back up. I have to see when I look back over Cliff here. Yes, they have their gun back up. So we got baited out. That was a completely failed push. Again, these are stupid decisions that we're making. I really should not be this far up. As soon as I saw the Heavy still holding there and I saw the gun was back up, I knew that they were back to a solid hold, so I said, I'm going to try to get what I can done, but I couldn't get a whole lot done. I hope no high-level heavies are watching because they have their head in their hands right now wondering what the fuck I'm doing. To eat a sandwich in the open like that, don't do that, because I was confident enough that I wouldn't get stabbed. That's why I decided to eat there, and speed was my priority. I would have gotten sniped, but for some reason the sniper missed me. That was just a stupid decision on my part, but I didn't want to go and find a dedicated spot to eat the sandwich. So, I know I'm talking a lot. I'm really trying to figure out what I want to highlight and what I want to kind of skip over, because this is going in real time. We took playground control, we had a really good first push, and now I'm kind of I'm scoping out the ground. When you're playing payload, the whole name of the game is making sure that you are aware of your surroundings and making sure you're finding out what's going on in real time. And for me, what that means right now is making sure that we have cliff control, seeing that our demo just died, and calling for a med, or I think I didn't call for it, but our med just backed up there. So I back up with them to support them. I don't want to be up there by myself, but I'm going up there now. The reason that I'm here by myself right now, when I shouldn't be, is because, well, I shouldn't say shouldn't be, but I'm confident that there's not a whole lot of resistance on Cliff, and we need to take Cliff back if we're going to push. So I had gone up there by myself to hold that down. Luckily, I was successful. I shouldn't even say luckily. These are kind of calculated risks combined with the fact that we were not warmed up, and I was making some stupid decisions as well. So, I'm going to just try to justify all the stupid shit that we do. I can't remember what we commed exactly over Mumble, so some of this I may be getting wrong, and our team can correct me if I made a mistake. But, yeah, we pop in here. This was a bit of a weird push, really messy, because you can see I'm alone with my medic here, and we know that they have players behind us, mainly their soldier, who comes down now. We take care of him, we manage to cap. Again, that was kind of we weren't warmed up, but that was a calculated push in. It was really scrappy and really kind of messy, but it works out. And I'm playing much more aggressive than I normally would be. A, because I'm not warmed up, but B, because I'm main calling and I'm really trying to make sure I know what's going on around me. So I'm forward a lot, I'm being aggressive a lot, but I'm trying to be safe about it. I see the sniper there, and that's just a big nope. to run and never look back. I can't remember if we had an Uber advantage here. We're at about 70%. I'm sure I can assume based on what we did whether we have advantage. That's a shame. If I had the sandwich, I could have given that to our soldier LT, but I didn't. So it was kind of scrappy on their part too, because they didn't really keep control of this ground very much. We push in, the soldier's up there, the heavy has control of elbow, which is where I'm going into right now, so this is another kind of a scrappy push. Their heavy opted to back out of this elbow, which was lucky for me because now I have complete control, which really helps our push. And when I say complete control, I didn't mean of the space where he just came from, outside of elbow. So, my commentary here will get more micro-y and more about what I'm actually doing as the team gets better, but right now, you know, there's some method to the madness, but it's just kind of chaos right now. That was a nice jump on me by their heavy, by the way, before. I did not hear him, and that was another example of him baiting me into moving forward, and then he gets the jump on me, he kills me. That was a really nice move by him. I think that's Goat Mom is his name. That's his Steam name right now. I'm not sure if that's his permanent Steam name. So I'll talk more about our pushes and the general kind of map strategies and things like that a bit later. Not going to talk about them now, again, because we're just so scrappy at this point. But at this point, I'm not sure if we have Uber advantage. We definitely have, but we're just trying to find a hole in their defense to punch through and get something done. Our priority is actually to take upper, where their combo is holding right now, in kind of the attic area. So we try to push under, but it does not work. We hesitate a ton. You saw how much we hesitated before we actually made that push. And that was one of the mistakes that we made, is waiting that long before we got something done. Again, that just comes down to the fact that we weren't warmed up. We don't usually execute pushes that badly and wait around like that. It was a Monday. And I'd actually just moved up to school. I moved back into my dorm, spent over an hour on the road, moving in by myself, 4 or 5 trips back and forth with my bags, and unpacking right after that. So I think about an hour after that is when we, about an hour after I finished unpacking, and I was tired, and it was freezing cold out in the wind. I couldn't feel my face. So my decision-making, my tracking, everything is really scrappy for me in this first kind of half of this this game here. So again, talking about scrappy fighting, I'm forward here. I know there's probably a sniper. I'm probably in a sniper sightline, but I'm more interested in getting information. I see that their combo's holding up top. I lose a shit ton of health. I'm playing really stupidly. There's no doubt about that. What I really should be doing is holding back, not trying to get information from like a first-hand kind of thing, like poking my neck and head into the fight and going, I wonder what's around the corner. Like the curious little Brooklyn guy that I am. I really should be holding back, listening to comms closely, and just trying to identify from sort of a farther back perspective, a safer perspective, where we can go in. We see that their demo has control over Spiral, where we were just about to push in. We decide not to do that. We decide to go for another under push. We're trying to be quick, because we know that being slow screwed us the last time. And we said we're being even slower than we were last time. They know we're here. This is a repeat of what happened before. So we're just going to back up and not even worry about that. It was nice that that demo was actually so far forward, because not only was he away from the combo here, so I could really run forward and take them out of attic, but we saw that they had Ubered, so we had advantage. I did not see there was a sniper there. That was totally my fault, 100%. Because I heard a shot, but I did not know that he was actually holding there and that the medic would pocket him. So I paid the price for that. Again, a little dry throat here. But again, you can see from their side, it's pretty scrappy too. I mean, our flank, our offense, their defense, everything was so scrappy. I think nobody was really warmed up here. The one thing I do want to point out that was solid about my play during this last push is you notice that I was not trying to get on the cart. I just kind of poked in to last and started firing, because the cart was so close, they had so few people up. To take the time to run to a more optimal position, to maybe to take upper, or maybe to go to the other side of last toward their spawn, maybe to spawn camp or something like that. It's not worth sometimes taking that time and risking them getting more numbers that you cannot deal with. I would have rather had stayed in a not so optimal place like I was, right on tracks at the entrance there, and done whatever damage I can, as long as that meant starting that damage sooner, if that makes any sense. For the same reason that I ate my sandwich on the top of the hill at the beginning here. Speed is important in a lot of these situations. Like, I think it might happen one or two more times during this too, where I'm not going to try to find a corner to eat my sandwich, because it takes 2 or 3 seconds to find and get to that corner, in addition to the 4 seconds that it takes you to eat that sandwich. In a lot of tight situations, you can't afford taking that extra 2 or 3 seconds, so therefore you take that risk, eat a sandwich very riskily, and, oh, by the way, this is great. So, I was catching a lot of flack back when I was banned for the whole cheating thing, because I forgot if it was that POV or some other POV. I think it was actually a video I had up from 2014 called My Spidey Senses Are Tingling, where I had looked over and gotten a spy like that. Here, on upward defense, if you're holding stairs, just shoot in that general area between the rocks like 3 or 4 seconds from when the gates open. That's a really, really, really good way to catch a spy. You know why? Because spies always go that way, and if they don't go that way, then either they're going up on the bridge in the cliff to your right, or they are holding in spawn. So you check 3 or 4 seconds after the gates open, you check between the rocks to see if a spy's there, you catch him out, he's dead, great, which is what happened. If he's not there, you check behind you check the cliff. If he's not in either of those places, you don't catch him, then just wait for him like you normally would. But you always have to make yourself useful. If you're holding and you're not really doing anything, especially on defense, you should be checking your scoreboard, seeing what player advantages you have. You should be finding out where your team is, where they're holding, what they're doing. Whether you have Uber advantage or not is always a good thing. And just keeping general tabs on things. It really does help your team, even if you're not the main caller. So, again, I haven't done a commentary like this before, so I know I'm skipping over, like, I just talked about the spy instead of talking about that entire first hold. I know, I get it. I'm doing my best here. Let me have my fun. So, that was unfortunate. I knew that was coming. Yeah, I'm not gonna talk too much about that. That was just a shame. He had 100 ping and he apologized for it, which was really funny. Anyway, so in a nutshell, I mean, if you go back and watch it, we lost that first hold, mainly because they were just being aggressive. We were losing numbers left and right. Our medic went down. We didn't have playground control. They were getting a ton of spam over the stairs, and we just had to back up. Same thing with second. We couldn't really get a good second hold here. I'm poking my head out only because no one else is, and I'm really trying to figure out if they're close. Turns out they're not so much. So the team kind of floods out and tries to get damage out. My role here is to stay alive, because I know that it's very, very likely, because of how clustered up we are in their positioning, that we'll have to back up very soon, and the fact that we lost a gun as well. So I stay alive as best I can, and I do. We have Uber, and the goal is to get out without having to use it, but I forgot why we popped here. We stay in just to get as much damage done as we can, but we know that we can't really do much. Our spy gets a lucky pick, mainly because of that distraction that we had, because our combo was there. But we back up, keep our med alive. That's really the priority, is getting a solid third hold here. So our first 2 holds were not great, but they weren't horrible either. I mean, we could have held on longer. I think we could have had more solid holds, but given the situation and how they were playing aggressively, we were able to kind of stretch it out as far as we could. So you notice they were trying to get aggressive. They did a good job of keeping their combo together there, but they did not push with their flank. And the one thing that, I don't know if you've been noticing, probably not, but I'll point it out, is their pushes have been much faster than the cart has been moving. And that's a problem that this team, my team, has had as well, where we find ourselves suddenly having wiped the other team, and we try to get as much ground as we can, but the problem is the cart's not far enough up. And if the cart's not up, and you can't cap the point, you can't get forward spawns, you need to be really careful with that aggression. So they pushed in a little bit too early, even though they had their whole combo together. And not only is the cart not being up a bad thing, like I said, but if you move that quick and you're kind of not thinking, you get tunnel vision really easily. So that combo that came in, their medic had tunnel vision. They were really just trying to take ground instead of having a more solid, planned, coordinated push. And the result was that I could peek out, I heard them pop in, and I could take out half their combo that wasn't Ubered. So we were able to hold this, which was nice. Always fun. This is stupid, by the way. Don't do what I'm doing. I'm really getting aggressive on the sniper here. This is not something you should do. But again, not warmed up, calculated risk, I figure. I was getting enough damage out. He was already hurt because one of our teammates called some damage, and I took him out. And by the way, this holding elbow here in this defense is one of my favorite things to do. If you are going to hold elbow as a heavy on this map, then coordinated spam is imperative, because I think that's the right word. I don't know if I used it right. Yes, great. Any English lit majors can correct me in the comments. But you see how Ash, our demo, Podgy, our sniper, and I'm not sure where our soldier is. I think he's still playing the flank, but they're getting some good spam. They're really holding down this cliff. And see, when they're backing up like this, we're kind of baiting them in a mini kind of a way. We let them peek out a little bit, let them get themselves exposed, where I can kind of peek out and get some damage on them. Maybe get a pick or two, but really just keeping them suppressed until they're ready for the push. So notice that was the first time that I died in elbow there, and the reason was obviously because of the coordinated spam from both the demo and the soldier at the same time. That was my fault, primarily because I didn't see the soldier. If I did, then I probably would have backed up. But it just goes to show that any kind of coordinated spam like that is something you just don't want to deal with as a heavy, because it's one of your biggest weaknesses, one of your biggest counters. So again, classic example, they're getting really aggressive, their players are split up, they're not really pushing together, but most importantly, look at where the card is, and maybe rewind like 10 or 20 seconds and find out the card is only getting up to that spot right now. And this is another example of the other blue trying to be aggressive, but the card is just not far enough to support it. They got it up there quickly, though. They had a ×3 on it the whole time as they were pushing. So while it wasn't in position during their push, it was in position after their push, so I decided to back up, and we have a good solid hold on last. And only now are they capping the third point, so that they have these forward spawns now, and they can get coordinated. Sorry, my mid-sentence cough. So this last hold in attic and upper, where we're holding right now, is one of my single favorite holds of any map. Just two reasons. A, because I just think it's really great. It's a really fun hold for a heavy in general. But also because this team, it's one of our team's best holds. Ash, our demo, and I coordinate very, very well. And Zeke as well. We coordinate very well and hold this really, really solidly most of the time. Notice how our demo has stickies on the spiral. I, as a heavy, am not very good at holding spiral. And by the way, I heard... Waiting for this to play out. Get a really nice chunk of their combo there. If you didn't hear it, rewind it and listen to it again. I knew they were coming because I heard the "now go" line from the medic, which means he's popping in. I could hear that without having seen anything. His Uber, any Ubered players, or his metabeam, or anything like that. And one of the reasons I like this upper hold so much is because I can do what I just did, which is just completely deny their combo pushing in as a body block. And that was actually hilarious. That was a happy accident with Ash there. We didn't coordinate that, but he kind of blocked out the medic and the demo there, and I got a bit lucky on the timing, but it's not entirely luck. I know it seems kind of weird to say that because I just happened to stumble on two of their players and their medic. But one of the reasons our hold up here is so strong is because I, along with my demo, we rotate very efficiently, and we're making sure that we're covering all of our bases. You know, Spiral is always covered either by one of us or by his stickies. The backstairs there are covered. It's a really good hold, and the thought process that you go through when you're watching something like that is, you know, if one of those places, backstairs, spiral, one of the windows, something that you're watching has not been, you know, covered for a few seconds, your instinct just says, you know, you got to rotate and just go check on that spot to make sure they're not coming. I hadn't seen my demo, so I assumed the backstairs were open and someone could flood in and kill us. So I had checked backstairs. Turns out, you know, there's our demo, and there's half of their combo. And down they go. So this is over. Let's transition into the second half. So I just did this. How long is this demo? This is 20 minutes. I just did 20 minutes of what I thought was recording, but I forgot to hit the record button. So I'm going to do my best to replicate everything that I just did because it was pretty good. Yeah, I'm kind of upset right now. I literally just realized that I forgot to hit record, and then I just said, screw it, I'm going to take two, another 20 minutes. Yeah, that's just what happens when you go to make videos like this. It's annoying, you know, an annoying habit. I'm looking up, I can see the red dot, it's recording, I'm good. So, I'm hoping that I can hit most of my points, and I'm hoping my throat doesn't give out. If my voice sounds weird, I'm sorry. But I'm doing this for you guys, and for me also. Because doing this stuff, I mean, honestly, it helps me to learn to go over my own demos and analyze and just talk about stuff. So, I hinted at this before, but we are more warmed up in this half. So I'm going to talk more about my own decisions versus the team, but I'll kind of mix them two, you know, both 2 and 2, or 1 and 1, I guess. So here again, check that spot between the rocks 3 or 4 seconds in. He's not there, the spy. Check the upper deck, check the cliff a little bit. I would have done a little bit more, but I think I hinted at this before, but they are going to make some mistakes in that they're doing a lot of the same stuff that they did the first half, which is that soldier and demo bomb was one of those plays that they did right at the very beginning. You saw that at the beginning of this video, at the beginning of this game, and they did it again. And we were able to properly deny that. Me in particular, because I was expecting it. I checked for the spies, but I turned around as soon as they were coming in because I was anticipating that they were going to bomb, and sure enough, they did. So this was actually a mistake by me. I really should not have been that far forward, but please tell me this works. I think this works, but I can't remember. Please tell me this works. I want this to work. I want this to work so badly. It works. So, I was too far forward, but sometimes you just have to, you do what you have to do. And the Fists of Steel, there's a reason why I run them pretty much 100% of the time these days, even on long maps, because they can save you, save you from a lot of really sticky situations, if you get my joke. Oh, I got sniped. That's unfortunate. Anyway, I really should have gotten spammed out there. I had 9 health, but, sometimes I can't remember what I said during the first half of this commentary, so if I repeat things, I'm sorry. But when eating a sandwich, like, I think there was a point during the first half here where I ate a sandwich on hill. Sometimes speed is key. Sometimes you just have to eat and take the risk that you might get shot or stabbed or something. But 4 seconds is a long time. You don't want to add to that when you're eating a sandwich. So I can't remember who we lost here. I think we lost our medic. I'm not completely sure about that, but you saw how they were flooding in. They were taking a lot of ground really quick. Our demo had died, our gun had gone down, and that's pretty much a red flag. You gotta back out. And my priority in this defense here, especially on payload maps, my number one, is to stay alive, because I'll talk about this a bit later, but transitional periods are pretty much the single most vulnerable time, or the most vulnerable times for a team on a payload map, and I'm sure it's the same for Koth and for Control Point, but when you're falling back and transitioning from the first point to the second on defense, when you're pushing on offense, those transitional periods are where you're really vulnerable. So my priority is to stay alive so that my team can get behind me if need be, and I can take some damage, so I can put out damage and get them back if I need to. This is a good example. They're pushing in. I'm really trying to stay alive here and be in a position where my team can get behind me. You see, I'm a little bit forward of the doorway, but I'm still in cover of this corner here, this beam. I'm trying not to soak up too much heals, but, I'm allowing my team that cover so they can fall back and get back in if they need to. So that worked out really well. The other reason is because their push was pretty predictable because they didn't utilize window. They all kind of came in one big cluster, and our Pyro and me and the Sentry were able to kind of push him back. But the third reason that push didn't work out so well was because the cart was not very far forward. This point is interesting because you can almost think of the cart as how strong your defense is. The further up the cart is for them, the closer it is to the point, the more and more likely it is that you should be backing out. Like, you see, it's not that close to the point right now, so we can afford to take some ground and kind of keep this point going. But I'm staying where I am position-wise because our team is really clustered up, and that opens us up for a lot of spam, a lot of, because they have a good time because they have a lot of area to work with and a lot of space. So our demo got stabbed. The cart is so close to being capped, but they're not pushing yet, and we have Uber. So it's a little bit of a dilemma for me. They're kind of trying to spam. I'm very, very close to backing out as soon as something happens. And there it is. The cart gets capped, and I call, let's back out. And we do. So our med stays live. We have Uber. We have a level 3 gun in transit. And I'm making sure to stay with them because, remember, like I said, these transitional periods are very, very important. Normally, on this map, I go and I watch elbow right here, like I'm doing. But if you go back 10 seconds and watch this again, because if you notice, I was going to hold by our gun, hold main on tracks, until I knew that our demo was watching that for me. Or watching tracks instead, I mean. And that's because, again, these transitional periods, you want to make sure that your med doesn't die. You want to make sure that your gun gets up and that your NG stays alive. These kind of steps that you need to take to make sure that you have a really, really solid hold, because that's how you get really long times on payload defense like this. Once I made sure that we were pretty much good to go, established we were good and ready and solid, then I said, okay, let's spread out a bit, make sure we have our bases covered. So from this point on, I'm going to be watching elbow. And one thing that I'm doing here is I'm making sure that I'm staying completely hidden for a few seconds before I peek, because I don't want to peek until I'm, I have some confidence that there might be someone forward enough that I can actually do some damage. I don't want to be constantly visible to them, staying, forward like that, because then they can play around that. They can see me and say, oh, I know there's a heavy there, I'm not going in. But if they can't see me, they're more likely to get forward, expose themselves, and I can then peek right after them and take them out. Now, remember last time I was holding like that, last time I did that, I was able to get half their combo because they were kind of pushing very sloppily. They weren't coordinated. They had tunnel vision, and I was able to take out the unubered players. But this time they were ready for me. They had a more solid push, and they were expecting that I was going to be an elbow because I was an elbow last time. So again, because they're anticipating me so much, I'm really staying in cover as much as possible. And that right there, I was able to win that 1v1 on the heavy for exactly the reason that I said before. I stayed in cover, and I'm only peeking when I know I have something to shoot at, because there's no reason for me to stay visible and allow them the advantage and allow them to shoot at me first. I need to ambush. I'm slow, And I'm pre-firing to make sure I have the damage output that I need. I got the jump on their demo. This is a really good hold. One other thing I want to point out is you're noticing that I'm playing in this way, but I'm not using the Tomislav. What's interesting is I've found that the spin-up sound with the minigun, people don't really hear it at all. It's interesting because most people use the Tomislav. I mean, the shorter spin-up time is nice, but the actual silent spin-up is a big +1 for people, and I've stopped using the Tomislav almost completely now because people can't hear the regular minigun sound. You know how it's hard for teams, and I mean, you guys know this, it's hard to hear a spy decloaking right behind you, even right behind you in competitive, because the game noise and the comms and people yelling over each other, it's hard to hear those kind of important details. But for some reason, I guess it just turns to white noise, or it's hard to locate. Whatever the reason is, people just can't seem to hear a minigun, at least hear it well enough to be able to locate and say, there's a heavy there, and I'm going to deal with them. That's why I was able to get those picks before. So here, I saw that the soldier was spamming me, the demo was there, they knew that I was there, so I wasn't about to peek. So I figured plan B, I didn't want to give up elbow entirely because you saw they were trying to get in there. So I figured I would try to ambush as kind of like a middle ground. I could have died there. It was a bit of a risky play, but it was calculated. You know, I could have died, but I figured I was high enough health that I had a pretty good chance, and then I would have, even if I didn't kill anybody, which I didn't, I would have still kept them out of elbow, denied them from elbow, which is the whole reason I'm holding it in the first place. Remember, I'm not trying to get kills so much as I'm just trying to stop them from capping, stop them from pushing. That's the whole point of this game mode. So I saw the whole clusterfuck of players there, and that's when, you know, they just capped the cart. It's time to back out. We have Uber, our medic's alive. I think our gun is still up, but our priority is taking upper right now, so our flank and our NG are kind of, you know, they kind of have to fend for themselves, which makes me a bit nervous on this point, but not sure if I said this already, but our upper hold is one of our best holds. I think I said that in the first half. And once again, I heard the medic pop. I can see the sticky. I know they're popping in through attic here. They tried the same thing last time, so for all of those reasons, that push fails miserably, because we expect it, because they were not extremely coordinated, they were slow. Mostly, but the biggest point, mostly because we expected it, and we heard them pop. If you try things like that over and over and they're not working, I know it's hard. You know, one of the biggest challenges I had starting out was, you know, you have a solid plan, you have the team, you know, coordinated, doing something together. But what if that one plan doesn't work? And you keep trying it and trying it and trying it, and it's not going to ever get better because the other team is just going to know to expect it more and more and more. So the trick is being able to kind of analyze the situation in real time and come up with a new plan on the fly. That's why, in my opinion, between me and Ash and the rest of our combo, and Zeke and all that, and I think Podgy's up here with us too this half, but we are constantly rotating in a coordinated way who is watching where in this upper hold. And unfortunately, I mean, the soldier manages to slip by. Our demo was watching Spiral. I was kind of watching far down and backstairs. Our medic, Mariposa, is fantastic. Now, anyway, this is a really, really bad situation to be in. We just lost Uber. They pop in. They are taking upper control. Our medic bails because she knows this is a bad situation. This is a stupid play that I'm making. You should not do this. But sometimes it really works out. The goal there was, I love that I may have said this already. I love this upper area because it's kind of like a little slice of CP steel. I think I said that. But then, you know, it's so great for heavy. I love this hold because there's corners and you can just get the surprise enemies and just come out from nowhere, and it's awesome. So instead of bailing out there and risking, you know, if I had jumped down with Mariposa, I would have been able to cover her, but we had just used Uber, so it wouldn't have been a huge loss, except for, you know, we're on red and we would have lost our medic. That's not a good thing, but it's not like we would have dropped Uber. I decided, you know what, I do not want to lose upper because we have such a strong hold here, so I decided to hide in a spot where I knew that they were not pushing in, and then come back in as they were trying to establish themselves again. Them pushing into upper, I got the jump on them and I killed their entire combo because they were still transitioning. Transitioning, I can't emphasize this enough, and this gameplay shows it really, really well, I think, especially the second half. The transitioning periods in payload are the single most vulnerable times for a team, whether you're offense or defense. And that's why it's so important to stay alive as a heavy, as much as you can. I mean, I'm taking calculated risks and I'm dying, sure. Like, even right here, they pulled off this hold. I mean, they caught me and my med by surprise. They had, instead of pushing attic, their whole combo, they had their combo push on tracks at main on the cart, and their flank came in and took us out, which was actually a pretty smart play. And I forgot what I was talking about before that. It would be nice if I could go, like, have this be recorded in real time. I could go back and listen to myself and remember what I was talking about, because this is being recorded anyway. But I can't remember. So anyway, let's go back to real time, figuring things out. And by the way, hopefully it's pretty evident, both through the gameplay and through my commentary, that we are a lot more warmed up during this half. It's really cool, for me at least, to be able to really see, you know, when you talk about being warmed up, or, oh, we lost because we weren't warmed up, to be able to actually see in practice and, you know and understand what it means and see examples of it. It's just really cool. You can tell how we're playing a lot more solidly. So by the way, what I'm doing here, it's just me and the sniper. So I was staying in that central area and just watching as much as I could because it was just me, you know. I was waiting. I just wanted to be as solid of a one-man defense as I could be to protect my sniper, but also to hold upper until our combo was able to get there. Kind of messy. Once again, they had a solid push in as we were trying to retake upper, as we were transitioning to upper. That's when they pushed in and they completely rolled over us. Now they have total control of upper. This is a very bad situation, and the cart is quite far forward. So what do? Well, their heavy drops down. I get a little bit far forward, but thankfully we have Uber again. Our medic is fantastic. And I'm playing very far forward here, trying to get kills, I'm hogging the Uber on purpose because I need to... This is one of those few moments... Not few, but this is one of those times where I need to say, okay, you know what? I have 300 plus health. I need to throw myself forward and push them back because I needed to play forward to maximize the space that my team had to come in behind me and reestablish a defense. If we stay clustered back by spawn and allow them to take ground and allow them to suppress us, we're never going to be able to kind of branch out and get our defense back, let alone take upper back. So I took a risk there. Even if I died, I think I was able to help in taking enough ground back that we are now able to slowly, you know, you see our flank is trying to jump up. We're taking upper control back slowly. I'm looking for a way that we can get upper control back because I see that we have players there and we need to support them. So this is an interesting thing here because we had Uber. Our flank was watching upper, and while I did want to take upper control back, I didn't know where their combo was, and that was critical. I was thinking if we didn't know where their combo was, well, we have eyes in upper. They must be at main, so we stayed where we were in that case, and they Ubered in. We were able to suppress them. Again, the reason we were able to suppress them was because we had the ground and the control necessary. We had reestablished our defense by the time they came in, and we were able to do that partially because I you know, during that other push there, I had stayed very far forward for the sake of my team, so they had the space they needed to branch out. Because the last thing you want on a last hold like this is for the other team, the blue team, to get enough control and enough ground that they can just kind of flood in and spam and keep you by spawn, and spawn camp in the worst cases, but just not give you any breathing room. You can't afford to give them that. So I take a peek at our medic. We have Uber. They're right here. This was a quick decision, but we popped in. The only purpose of this Uber, because notice I'm not staying forward. I get ammo, but I do not chase any kills. The only purpose of that Uber was to stop their push, because they were right there at the bottom of the stairs. They were about to do something. They were all clustered. We had to stop that. As soon as we knew that we had accomplished that, that's when you have to cut your losses and say, okay, we need to go back and get our defense back. Because if I had chased kills there, not only would I have probably died to, you know, someone who was expecting me to chase kills because I was overextending, or if I had been overextending, I mean. But notice how our medic was so close to dying because the soldier had come up. If I'd gone any further out, I wouldn't have been there to protect our medic, and she probably would have died, giving them Uber advantage, which is a very bad thing for us. You know, sorry, the burps. I get them sometimes. But again, tying back to this whole thing, the name of the game is minimizing this whole transition time, and you as a heavy are central to that because of your health pool, because of your close range effectiveness. I've talked about this before, I'm not going to make it technical, but it's very, very important that you try to stay alive during those moments because you are kind of like, you're the pivotal, you're the staple, you're the fulcrum, I guess, when it comes to reestablishing these defenses. So like I said, just to clarify, I didn't chase kills. As soon as we accomplished what we set out to do, which is just stopping the Uber. We weren't Ubering for kills, we were Ubering defensively to stop them. Once we did that, you just go right back and continue defending. Remember, you're defending, you're holding a point. You're not going, you know, kills don't matter, you know, ground doesn't matter. I'm being stupid there. The only thing that matters on a payload map is the cart. and keeping control of the map. I think I could have said that much better. I'm going to get angry comments about that, I know. But I don't think actually everyone's going to be watching until the end anyway. So if you're watching up until this point, thank you, because you're awesome, and you're probably heavy main, which is also cool. But again, minimizing that transition time, really making sure that you stay alive for the sake of your team, and playing safe, you know, making sure that your team is able to hold where they need to hold, to take the ground that they should be taking, and trying to minimize the stupid. I mean, a lot of the stuff that I do is stupid. The plays that I make, they're stupid. But I like to think that they're calculated. I mean, I hope they're calculated. In retrospect, I can probably reason that they're calculated, but you know. So anyway, like I said, that was not the match. That was the pregame scrim. I plan on doing this with a mouse cam included over the next few weeks for our matches. I'll be doing commentaries for every single one. Hopefully I can actually remember to hit record this time. And yeah, so thank you guys so much for watching. Let me know in the comments if you thought this was helpful. This was a lot of fun to make, except for the fact that I spent 20 minutes not actually recording, but it was good practice for this one. So, you know, it's it's just good. It's pretty good. So thanks again, guys. I'll see you next week. More videos coming soon, by the way. I'll talk more about that later. See ya.